Turnblad, and there I was singing my heart out in the rehearsal hall, going, "I'm Tracy Turnblad," you know. And so, and like, you know, and half of me, like during the process, like after the second workshop, I was like, "Well, either give it to me or not, forget it." And then all of a sudden, I was like, "Oh no, like that's fine." And for me, it actually, I never would have grown so much in this role had it not been, had they just given it to me May of 2000, I'm not being bitter, I know exactly the dates. Not giving it to me, had they just said to me, "This is your role," I never would have found a voice teacher to go, "How can I make this work?" I never would have gone to, I didn't go to dance because I was like, you know what, Tracy's not a dancer. She's more like, it's more aerobic, it's more athletic, it's more about that. She's just, it's more about her spirit than it is about her, you know, technique. So, you know, I started doing aerobics and started running on the treadmill with my songs, and then like the acting, the scene work that was going to come once I met the other actors, because for me it's never about what I do. It's about, like, I am so blessed with such a wonderful ensemble, because to me it doesn't matter. Like I envy. I could never do what you do. Like that's just, I'm always about whatever someone else gives me, I'll give them back. So. You know, so I've done a lot of bad, cheesy sitcoms because I've had a lot of cheesiness coming at me, so I'll be right back at it. But I had to fight really, 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 really hard for this role. And, I mean, even all through Seattle or out of town, I mean, they were still, everybody was really worried and really nervous, and that would make me really worried and nervous. But it just made me, and then I got a review in, like, Variety that said, like, "Oh, well, she's not quite the dancer you want her to be." And in Seattle, I got that review. And then that was it. Then it was like all about me and Michelle Lynch, who was our Jerry Mitchell's assistant, and it was like 8 hours a day. I was like, "You are going to make sure I know every dance better than everybody on this stage." Even it, you know, like even when I'm dancing in my room to the TV, I'm like, I'm going to know it better than the dancers down there, so that nobody ever comments on my dancing again. So then I was so glad that then I was like, I don't care now if they say I can't sing and they say I can't act, as long as they say I can dance. So I was so angry about that. So for me, because I had to work so much harder for it, I mean, I never expected the show to be the hit that it became. Nobody involved it, and I think that that's why it is such a wonderful show, because no one on stage expected it, so we're all such a close family. I mean, I don't look out at the audience except during Baltimore, that's it. And after that, I don't think I face front even once, because there's so much going on, and I have moments with every ensemble person, and everybody's so important in our show that it's so great, and I'm so glad that it all happened for everybody with our show.
Edie, are you always comfortable on stage and comfortable in auditions?
No, I hate auditioning. I really hate it. I was never good at it, I don't think. There's something about having to prove yourself to someone that seems to go against everything that we do, you know, instinctively as an actor. Like somebody was just saying about when people offer you a role, there's something so different about the experience of working on that thing. Because you walk onto the set or into the theater, you know, rehearsal hall, knowing they wanted you. There's something about you that they already trust you. So all that stuff is out of the way. You can just go in and start the work, you know. And you're clearly all there for the same reason, to make the story happen. And they think you're the best person to have that, to make that happen. Auditions, I'm not a good salesperson, you know what I mean? And I've gotten so bad about it now. I'm like, you know what? You don't want me? That's fine. I'll go home and sleep. You know what I mean? I'm just too tired to fight for stuff anymore. So.
Is it shyness? Is that a component of it, or is it?
No, I don't think it is.
Do you get angry? I think a lot of actors. I know myself, and I get angry having to audition.
I got humbled once.
And it comes through in the audition.
I got humbled once. It was an interesting experience.
But why do you get angry?
It's anger. I think is for me. It was always a kind of a shield. And I felt better about myself if I could be pissed off at the audience.
Yeah, that's
Producers,
true.
nothing. It's a terrible, terrible experience auditioning.
Yeah.
And I hear these stories, and I've been through all of these things.
Oh my God!
You know, and you're better off when you're free and relaxed. But how do you get free and relaxed when people are out there judging you?
Well, I also think that so many directors. I've had terrible experiences auditioning, and I was very fine experiences auditioning with very nice directors, but I hate it. If I never had to do it again, and I pray to God I don't have to do it again.
It's hard.
It's awful.
It's
but
so
a lot of
hard.
directors don't know don't know how to deal with actors in an audition, and I think that that really is the problem, that they really don't know how to run an audition. And when I started directing, one of the things that I was very important to me was to make actors feel comfortable in auditions, to talk to them first, to have somebody not do a scene, even if the guy was completely wrong for the part or really bad. I would have them do it more than just once. I would have them do it 2 or 3 times, because I might learn something and they might learn something. I might say, oh, you know what, I see why he made that choice the first time, or whatever. My goal was to make those people feel as comfortable as possible, because so many people in my life had made me feel so terribly uncomfortable.
Absolutely.
And sometimes you have to audition actors. I would prefer not to audition actors, but you have to, because you really need to see. A director isn't sure, but if a director isn't sure, the actor has to know why the director isn't sure. And that is the problem. Directors don't make that clear, and that's why it's so excruciating.
Or maybe
You
they
know,
don't
when
know
I
what they
give
want.
advice to, like if I have a son who's an actor and I try to give him advice, which he never follows, but we do talk about it anyway. But the one thing that I think, if I could had it to do over again, would be to try to be myself, because everybody wins. If you go in there and what most actors have to do is go in there and try to be what they think the producer wanted to be.
Exactly. That's the pit.
Everybody loses in that situation. But if you go in and you're just absolutely as honest as you probably, I heard you say that, didn't you say it?
Yeah.
And just as if you then the director knows more when he gets through, even if he doesn't want to use you. It's wonderful that Stanley does what he does, because it's
We can all be so lucky, though. Yeah.
And with me, I try to show, when I go into an audition, I do try to show up as I am, and then I do the work, and I feel like if they don't want me for this part, they know who I am. Right. So they can call me back, this human being back again, and for something else. But if I just go in as these 2 pages that they gave me, then I'm really messed up. And just in case I blow that, and
What's so frustrating sometimes too, though, as an actress, I'll go in and do my me, and then read the scene, and then they're like, "Thank you," and you leave, and then you'll get feedback, and they're like, "Oh, they wanted to go a different way," and you're like, "Well, why didn't they just tell me that?" Because so many times, they'll say, "Well, we wanted her a lot quieter or shy." I'm like, well. Just because I'm such a big mouth doesn't mean I can't be timid and shy.
But that's the problem. That's
Right.
what I was saying, is that they don't know how to do it. They don't know how. They don't say, "Could you try it this way?
Right.
Could you try this? Could you try that?" And you see what facility the person has, and also you're discovering maybe what you need to find for the role as a director.
Because you just make your own choices as an actress. You're like, "Oh, this is how I read it,"
Right.
Just tell me what to do.
and sometimes you don't even get the whole script, or you don't get how everyone's going to react.
The problem
towards
is
you.
directors
conjured
then
up in
continue
the
to
air.
do that after they've hired you. If they
Yeah.
don't tell you what
Yes, I know. It's
oh yeah.
Well, I have a question I want to ask people. When you do get a script and you have it, how do you judge whether to do the script or not? Now you were very honest, and I believe that you remembered something, and then you decided to read it after Stanley took the job, and you knew you were going to have to do it. Then you read it. I've done that too. I've gotten into a lot of trouble. But one of the things, how do you figure out what you want to do, or whether a script works, or what you want to do with it? That's what's interesting. I never have been able to figure it out.
If it hits me on a visceral level, when George C. Wolfe sent me Susan Laurie Parks' In the Blood. And I was in La Jolla at the time doing a play, and I went to this beautiful place to read this incredibly intense play out in the sunshine at the beach, and I'm reading, and I'm like looking at this, and I'm this is ridiculous. If George thinks I'm going to do this, they're crazy. This is wild. And I closed it up. I finished it. I had to get to the theater. It was coming on half hour. I'm driving down this highway, and all of a sudden something happened to me where I felt like I was having a panic attack, and something is going on really wrong, and I don't know what's happening. And I pulled over and had this major catharsis that was postponed from when I was reading this play. And then I got back in the car after I controlled myself, went straight to the theater, called George and said, "I have to do it." Because it was scary, it was challenging, it was a reach. It was such a reach. And the fact that they thought that I could make that reach. And I saw, yes, this is the beginning of this play. Yes, I don't